Hello, my name is Emily Pahalski, and I am a Land Use Environmental Planner at the County of San Diego's Department of Parks and Recreation. We are very excited to provide this presentation on the Public Access Plan for Rancho Lilac Preserve. Thank you for your interest. Here are the topics that will be covered in this presentation. We will provide a quick overview of our current efforts to prepare a resource management plan, which will include a public access plan. After that, we will present the constraints and opportunities that have been identified for the preserve based on over a year of data collection and monitoring efforts. Next, we will review the 3 draft trail alternatives that have been developed based on these opportunities and constraints. And then we will provide an overview of the schedule and opportunities to stay involved, including filling out a questionnaire to provide feedback on the draft trail alternatives. The County of San Diego Department of Parks and Recreation is working in partnership with Sandag and Caltrans on efforts related to the Rancho Lilac Preserve. DPR staff working on the project includes staff from our Operations, Development, and Resource Management divisions. The San Diego Association of Governments, or Sandag, and Caltrans staff are also involved in the project. To give a little background on our current efforts related to the Rancho Lilac Preserve, in 2022, Sandag released a Request for Proposals, or RFP, to solicit for the development of a preserve-specific resource management plan and ultimately the transfer of ownership of the property from Caltrans to a selected property manager. In early 2023, Sandag and the county entered into an agreement whereby the county is leading preparation of the resource management plan. The overall process to transfer ownership for Rancho Lilac will occur in 2 phases. The first phase, which we are currently in, will be completed over 2 years and will include the development of the Rancho Lilac Preserve Resource Management Plan, or RMP. The RMP will document Rancho Lilac's sensitive biological, cultural, and historic resources and include management strategies to protect these resources in perpetuity. The RMP will also include a public access plan to allow generations of San Diego County residents and visitors to connect with nature in the preserve. A cost and funding analysis will also be completed during the first phase to determine the endowment needed to conduct ongoing management and monitoring in perpetuity. After the RMP is finalized, the second phase of the project will begin, which will ultimately transfer ownership of the Rancho Lilac Preserve to the county. The Public Access Plan is a component of the overall resource management plan. In developing the Public Access Plan, we have 2 primary goals. First, to ensure public access is consistent with the overall purpose of the preserve, which is for conservation, and second, to ensure the public access opportunities are sustainable and provide an enjoyable experience for multiple types of trail users and users with different abilities. To begin, I would like to take a moment to discuss the steps involved in developing the public access plan. The first step involves extensive surveying and data collection to understand the details of the property, focusing on existing biological, cultural, and historic resources. This was done through a literature review and surveys that have been performed over the past year. From there, we identify constraints and opportunities for public access based upon the property-specific information collected. With knowledge of opportunities and constraints, we then develop draft trail alignments for various trail options that could be implemented on site. Next, we enter the public engagement process, which consists of an initial workshop, public feedback, and a second public workshop. After reviewing and analyzing public feedback, we will then revise the proposed trail alignment. We will hold a second public workshop in the fall, which will review the public input that was received, as well as provide any updates to the trail alignment. Ultimately, the public access plan will be included within the overall resource management plan for the Rancho Lilac Preserve. There will be another chance for public review of the entire resource management plan with the public access plan before it is finalized. This figure identifies the constraints and opportunities on the preserve. Constraints identified include biologically and culturally sensitive areas, topography, existing access points, and roads. Opportunities include items such as preserve-specific points of interest, scenic views, and use of existing disturbed land for trails. This is a composite figure, and I will break it apart in the next few slides. This figure shows the aquatic resources on site. Keys Creek runs from east to west through the center of the preserve. Aquatic resource areas generally contain sensitive habitat and are important to wildlife. Therefore, we aim to avoid these areas or keep to existing disturbed areas within the aquatic resources buffer. Extensive vegetation mapping was completed during biological surveys. The preserve consists of many vegetation types, including non-native grassland, coastal sage scrub, southern coast live oak riparian forest, southern riparian woodland, and coast live oak woodland. In addition, the preserve contains urban, developed, and disturbed habitats resulting from human activities, for example, the dirt access roads and areas used for past farming and grazing. This information was used to site trails away from sensitive habitat. This figure shows environmentally sensitive areas. The shaded areas contain sensitive plants, animals, habitat, and/or cultural and historic resources. Trails were generally sited to avoid new disturbance in these areas. We also evaluated soil types within the preserve. The preserve contains 17 soil types belonging to 7 soil series. This is important to assess the potential for erosion and ensure that we can create sustainable trail alignments. This figure shows the topography of the preserve. The site is constrained by topography in some areas, especially the southwestern portion. Topography was also considered with respect to user safety and in creating sustainable trail alignments that are less likely to erode. During site visits, the condition of the existing access roads on the preserve was assessed. We explored the viability of using existing access roads for the trail alignments. This is the composite figure again, so you can see how all of the different layers were compiled. A couple of other items I would like to note are the utility easements that run from north to south in the center of the site. The County Water Authority and SDG&E have easements on the preserve. Also, you will see a dashed line that runs from east to west along Keys Creek and also north to south along Lilac Road. These are proposed trail alignments from the county's Community Trails Master Plan. These trails do not currently exist, but the Community Trails Master Plan has identified them as being desired by the community. Here is draft trail alignment 1. All 3 alternatives contain a parking and staging area just south of Keys Creek and west of Lilac Road, which is shown by the yellow star on the figure. This is located near the structures near the main gate. The preserve will have a live-on park host, which would assist with preserve management and security, shown by the yellow dot on the figure. All 3 alternatives also propose an ADA accessible trail from the parking area to some of the historic buildings to the west. This is shown by the blue line. The proposed trails are all intended for multi-use, hikers, bikers, and equestrians. Alternative 1 would follow existing access roads west, cross Keys Creek in the existing creek crossing, and continue along existing access roads to the west. Existing access roads that would be used for trail alignments are shown by the solid black line. The trail would then split. The northern portion goes over a hill and would allow for viewing. The lower portion is relatively flat, and at the portion where they rejoin, there would be a comfort station with picnic benches and a hitching post. This is shown by the yellow flag. The trail would continue west, still on existing access roads, and go over 2 existing culverts. A new trail would then be created at the northwesternmost portion of the preserve to provide a loop. This is shown by the black dashed line. At this time, no off-site connections are proposed. Alternative 2 differs from Alternative 1 in that there is an additional optional ADA accessible trail through the meadow near the entrance of the preserve. Also, the loop to the far west has been removed in this alternative. Additionally, this alternative includes a new trail that would traverse the northern portion of the property at slight elevation, providing views of the valley. Alternative 3 includes components of both Alternative 1 and Alternative 2. The ADA trail through the meadow, the northern loop, and the west loop are all incorporated into this alternative. The one difference here is that the segment that goes over the hill in the middle of the preserve has been slightly rerouted to avoid a steep section of the existing access road. Now let's review the project schedule. Development of the Rancho Lilac Preserve RMP is underway and will be completed in early 2025. Public engagement will continue to occur throughout the entire project. Inventory surveys of the biological, cultural, and historical resources have been completed with the associated reports to be finalized in the next couple of months. Vegetation management and public access plans are also underway. The cost and funding analysis will be completed after all information is gathered. The RFP draft will be circulated for public review in December of this year into January 2025. There will be many opportunities for public input for this project. There is a questionnaire available on our website where you can provide feedback on trail use and preferences or any other comments you may have. The questionnaire will be active from July 11th through July 25th, 2024. We have also developed a project webpage on the County DPR website. This page will be updated throughout the RMP development process. It will contain project updates, information on past and future meetings, will host the questionnaire, and will have contact information. If you would like to be placed on the email distribution list for notifications about future meetings, please contact me at my email listed on this slide. There will also be an optional site visit to the preserve. The timing is still being determined. Please RSVP to me if you would like details of the site visit, time, and meeting location. We will be taking a short walk around some of the buildings as well as a short walk to Keys Creek. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation, and we look forward to working with you on this project.